for listening to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in American soccer. And don't forget to subscribe.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast. My name is Jake Watroba, and joining me today down in Dallas is Arman Kafai, and in Madison, Wisconsin is Steven Jodaran. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Uncle Sam's Soccer Pod. We always enjoy your feedback and comments, so continue to send them in. And don't forget, you can also find us on any major podcast platform, including Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and much, much more. On this week's episode of the show, we discuss and react to the latest results in MLS playoffs. Plus, we discuss the recent 3 months of U.S. men's national team friendlies. Also, it's another installment of the High Press with Arman Kafai. And finally, it's the counterattack with yours truly, Jake Watroba. Now, let's get to today's show. Steven, Arman, how you guys doing today?
Doing well, Jake. How you doing?
Well, after the 5th or 6th take of that intro, I'm doing much better.
Yeah, we got a fantastic episode, a shortened one for you listeners. We're going to fly through a ton of content. And MLS playoffs, Jake, you've been really excited for those.
Oh, man, I cannot tell you how excited I was to watch the MLS playoffs, the Red Bulls, Atlanta United. We also had SKC Portland, 2 stellar matchups, and I think most notably with SKC in Portland, I think we really we got a treat this afternoon. A 0-0 draw, the prototypical nap football, as we like to toss around on this show.
Did we all sleep during that game? Because that's like a 30-minute nap.
I didn't watch. That's how excited I was for it.
I'm serious. Is as funny as Jake is trying to be, he does make a really good point. MLS playoffs can be really boring. There needs to be some sort of systematic change to this all.
Well, it's funny you say that, Steven. Because they might be coming.
Yeah, well, we got to save that for another show. Arman, yeah, what's going on in your little world? I think this is the first time you're back on the show after last week's guest call, right?
Yeah, I'm ready to get pounded by exams this week. So that's where I'm at right now. I took a 2-week break from watching soccer. That was really cool, right? Didn't watch that much, and now I'm fully into the MLS playoffs. You know how it is. Always watching MLS on Sundays. I feel like a no life, but you know, this is what we do.
Okay, MLS playoffs. Well, as a way to get around things, let's get to the High Press with Arman Kafai.
All right, guys, it's the High Press with your boy, Arman Kafai, and it's something that the Red Bulls didn't do this week. Atlanta and Red Bull play. It's the best 2 teams in MLS. You see the best 2 teams in MLS history. Red Bulls with 71 points. Atlanta with 69, squaring off in the Eastern Conference Finals. Excitement, a full stadium tifos. Vamos, ATL, vamos. Will it be the last time we see Tata Martino, Joseph Martinez, and Miguel Almiron in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium? Not so fast as Joseph Martinez, scoring off a Jeff Lorenemus assist. Franco Escobar added his second goal, and the dagger was thrown in by Hector Villalba in the 94th minute. Red Bull thought they had a goal to make it 1-1, but Alex Mule was called for an obstruction, according to VAR, our favorite system. So Atlanta with a 3-0 lead going into Harrison. It doesn't look good for the Red Bulls. And like they say in New York, that's so Metro. Moving on to the Portland SKC matchup. It's a rematch of the double post game. Remember that when Saad Abdul Salam hit the post and hit both posts? They made a bar after him. It was a rematch. Portland was hot after a huge win over Seattle, but they lost Maibala due to an injury. They thought it took the lead in the 70th minute of a David Guzman goal, but it was called off because Ridgewell was offside. The backup for Maibala Tulama thought he scored as well, but Tim Melia with his cat-like reflexes grabbed it, and it was 0-0. According to Opta, the expected goal for both teams for SKC was 0.56. For Portland, it was 0.71. Not that much action, and I took a nap. We'll see what happens next week in SKC, but this first leg shows why we need one leg in MLS playoffs and why these changes should be good, because I think we all took a nap during that match. That's the high press with your boy.
Well, thanks, Arman, for that. I have a question. Do you rehearse those?
No, I just write down a bunch of facts and then I just go from there.
Oh, I couldn't help but laugh my ass off as Jake over there was texting the group chat a bunch of comments from what Arman was saying. Jake,
they are very appropriate for this show too, by the way. So
no, okay. Let's begin with the Red Bulls Atlanta game, and Arman, I don't think any of us expected that scoreline.
No, I don't think so, but I don't think anyone expected Red Bull to not press, even though their entire mantra is to press the ball, right? I think Paul Carr on Twitter mentioned how Red Bull would average starting possessions in their opponent's final third. So that means they'd probably press the ball and get a turnover 6.4 times their regular season on average. This game, that number was 0. I don't think anyone expected Red Bull to come out and be so defensive. And I was honestly surprised. A lot of people have mentioned that, Kamar Lawrence was out, and that's why he shifted to kind of that really defensive look. But they were on the back foot the entire game.
Why do you think Chris Armas set his team up the way they did? They played to win the game 0-0. And Atlanta, who has been hot. Now, this is courtesy Opta Jack. Before the game, Atlanta United is unbeaten in its last 11 MLS games at home, including playoffs. 8 wins, 3 draws. The Five Stripes averaged 2.4 goals per game during the span, while allowing just under a goal per game. Now, why would you go into Atlanta hoping to, walk out with 0-0? Why? That is stupidity, because the moment Atlanta got the momentum and got that first goal, then it seemed to open a can of worms. Now, I don't think the game should have, the Red Bulls had one called back. They had other opportunities. So I don't think the scoreline necessarily reflects the way or the momentum in which the game flowed. My
thought process with the whole thing was I actually voted for Chris Armas to be Coach of the Year. And so I'm coming from a completely, unbiased or biased, point. I think he got the game completely wrong. I think his game plan going into the game was wrong. I think he should have stuck with what he got. It seems like the Red Bulls, whenever they lose a key player, they always stick to that certain style of pressing. Remember, we forget that second matchup between Red Bull and Atlanta, they didn't have Bradley Wright Phillips. They didn't have Tyler Adams. Those are, I would argue, a little bit more important players than Kamar Lawrence. So why they changed it up now? Why was it? I think Armas really messed up. I don't know why you would set up to try to enter a match and end up with a 0-0 result. I would go guns blazing. I would try to shoot, score at least one goal. And it cost them. And then I was surprised that they pushed so many numbers up at the end of the game, too. I don't know if you saw that, Steven or Jake, but it pushed so many numbers up that it allowed Hector Villalba to score that goal in the 94th minute and just essentially send the game to make it 3-0 instead of, setting up shop and kind of killing off the game to make it to go 2-0 into Harrison. Because 2-0, hot sports take, it's easier to come back from than 3-0. So I thought he got it wrong. I thought he got completely wrong in terms of how he managed the game as a whole.
No, no doubt. I think he did. Definitely did. Now, Jake, is the series over at 3-0?
Yeah, it's over. It's so over. There's no reason to watch the match on Thursday.
No reason.
Well, we will.
This,
listeners, we will.
But no, well, you will.
I will.
And this has been another installment of Jake jinxes everything, and Red Bull will win 4-3 somehow. But seriously, come on. Does anyone think that they're going to be able to hang 3 goals on Atlanta and keep them off the score sheet?
Well, John Strong and Stu Holden were talking about it on the broadcast during the Portland KC game.
Of course they are. They got to pump it up because they're going to be the network that's broadcasting it.
Yep.
So they got viewers.
They're broadcasting it, and it's only been twice, I think, in MLS history that a team overcomes 3-0. So it is so, unlikely. I don't understand this home field advantage thing here. Red Bull's the best regular season in MLS
doesn't
history.
matter.
Suddenly doesn't matter. Furthermore, it's like they don't even have a home field advantage. There is none.
It doesn't matter. Like, the fact is, you got to score 3 and make sure that Atlanta doesn't score 1. That's gonna be tough. And I bet you Atlanta scores 1 early, just countering off Red Bull pushing up too many numbers. That's it. And if that happens, series over. And we're talking about Atlanta going to MLS Cup on Big Boy Fox.
Arman, if you're Atlanta to start that game off, let's say the first 15 minutes or so, are you just pushing numbers forward just to try to get that? Just try to get that goal and not allow Red Bulls to kind of settle into things.
That's a good point, because I think the other point would be sit back and then hit him with a counter. But the thing is, Tata, I think, has, even though it's his last season in MLS, I think he's learned how to manage a playoff series, if that makes any sense. We saw that in the NYCFC. I would expect them to line up a lot like how they did in the NYCFC road leg. Just a little bit more counter-based, a little bit more defensive. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Tata came out and said, hey, let's go guns blazing and let's try to end this series quick, because that's his mantra, attacking football. But, I mean, if I was Tata, which I'm not, I would try to – because here's the thing. If you allow Red Bull to kind of settle in, then they're going to start pressing, and then turnovers could happen. But if I was Tata, I would try to hit them on a counter with a Miguel Almiron or Joseph Martinez and try to get that dagger either in the 30th or 40th minute and see how it goes. But, I mean, you wouldn't be wrong with that mentality either. Do
the Red Bulls have the firepower, you think, to score with Wright Phillips, Kaku, and Tyler Adams moving forward?
No.
They don't have the same firepower as Atlanta to score so many goals.
If there was one team I would choose to come back from a 3-0 deficit, it would be Atlanta, not like Red Bull or anything, if that makes any sense.
Let's flip it to the Western Conference, where Sporting KC traveled to Portland in a 0-0 draw.
I guess I would say it's typical first leg. Very cagey. SKC just, I guess, not really wanting to concede, and Portland trying to be careful not to concede that away goal. It's just two kind of cautious cats. IMO.
Was Portland here in the mistake of not trying to go out there and get in the goal? Now that they're on the road, having to play in KC, which is not an easy environment whatsoever. Did they shoot themselves in the fact that they could have gone out there and try to get that goal when in fact it seemed to be more stuck in the midfield and was more of a tactical battlefield of both sides not wanting to concede rather than both sides wanting to go after a goal?
A hot sports take of the day. I think Portland's fine with this. I think SKC is also fine with it, but I think Portland's fine with it because sometimes they don't like having too much of the ball. And now going on the road, they have the opportunity to go on the counter with Valeri, Blanco, and Bussier, and go from there. I don't think Portland's that upset. I think, okay, they push hard for a goal, but I don't think they're generally upset. Hey, we really screwed up. I think they'll be fine. They should be fine. But again, SKC has a huge home field advantage. So it's kind of up to me. Yeah.
Arman, is there more pressure on SKC in the second leg or more pressure on Portland?
SKC. You'd think, no? Higher seed?
Higher seed, and they're at home.
Yep, I agree.
All right,
It has to be.
has to be. On the other side, we're gonna talk some U.S. men's national team. Yay!
Yay. So, guys, I have an idea. Let's talk about how much we hate the U.S. men's national team right now.
That's a great.
Steven, you go first.
On a scale of 0 to 10, because we like scales here, 11.
What about our boy Jake over here?
I'm at about a 4 or a 5. Very minimal hates.
No hot
let's be
sports
real.
take, Jake.
Okay, wait. Is it how much do I hate the U.S. men's national team, or how much do I hate U.S. soccer? Because those are two different things in my eyes.
What was your original question, Arman? I don't remember.
I said, how much do you hate the U.S. men's national team?
All right, yeah, 11. I'm sticking with my 11.
I'm about like a 4, 3 or 4. I've actually downgraded it since you've asked me the first time.
How is that possible?
Yeah, that's not even possible.
Yeah, no, it is because it happened. No, I don't. I'm not as fired up about this as you guys are.
Okay, explain to me your thinking here, Jake.
Are we talking performance based? Because performance based, I can't look at the national team and have any opinion on it until a permanent manager has been hired, and I really think that some time needs to be set to allow him to put a system in place. And I don't think you can really say if the national team is better or worse until after the Gold Cup. That's just kind of my take on it right now. Now, if you want to talk U.S. soccer and the way they've botched this coaching hire and how we're, turning people away, from clubs like Real Madrid and I saw somebody out of Serie A, a manager in Serie A who wanted the job. I can't remember what. I want to say it was Parma, but I mean, if we want to talk about that, then yeah, that's like a 13. But the national team, performance-wise, I couldn't care less right now.
No, I think you can be angry with the performances. Under Dave Sarakan, 3 wins, 4 draws, 5 losses. Goals afford, 11. Goals allowed, 15. You want to know about the possession-wise? Against England, the U.S. held 40%. Against Peru, 32%. Against Colombia, 38%. Against Mexico, they won that game, by the way, 47%. Against Brazil, 35%. Against Italy at halftime, because I'm reading our own Uncle Sam Soccer Pod Twitter feed here, 26%. Ooh. Are you kidding me? How? And for the last year, we talked about the talent that the U.S. has. At the very least, you should be able to see these glimpses of talent. But the players are so lackluster, and they have a stick up their behinds when they put on the U.S. men's national team jersey that they can't figure it out how to play with each other, how to have some sort of chemistry. You would think that these players would have some sort of team bonding, especially in the last year and particularly the last couple of games, to figure it out, because it's been similar players have been getting called up to the national team. None of that has progressed. Dave Sarakan, God, this guy has the audacity to say, I feel as the leader over the last 12 months of this program, I feel we have moved it forward. Armand, please tell me this guy is delusional. Or am I delusional?
Yeah, I mean, someone was saying that they want Dave Sarakan to be FC Dallas coach, and I almost just sent in my resignation letter to Pro Soccer USA. I wouldn't be able to see that. I mean, part of my problem with the U.S. men's national team, because Jake has a point. I mean, a lot of it is an interim manager and whatnot, but I'm just disappointed at the way that a lot of people are like, oh, it's Italy, oh, it's England, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. I mean, my thought process is this. I think we have the talent in this country to compete with these guys. Call me crazy. Call me legitimately crazy. But I think we do. And we saw it in our youth with the U20 qualifying with how good they play. They outplayed everyone in the region, including Mexico. A lot of these guys are going to the Bundesliga to get more playing time. But the problem is, just as a cohesive unit, they don't look good. They don't look good at all. Against Italy, looked awful. Against England, looked awful. Against Brazil, on the back foot. Against Colombia, on the back foot. How are these friendlies even good for us? Even good for United States in terms of gaining confidence? Because how can you gain confidence when you're not even on the ball 90% of the time, and you're getting hit with attack after attack like Italy did? And by the way, Italy got rid of their coach after missing the World Cup, implemented a new coach, and now are a well-oiled machine, I would probably say.
Arman.
Not yet. But wait.
But they're getting there.
No, Italy is getting there. But look at Ireland. Ireland sacked their manager November, I think, 21st. Now I'm just going off memory. They already have a new manager in place. In fact, they have a new manager to replace the guy that they just hired. So they have the next two managers lined up. The Irish Football Federation, or whatever they're called. Now, Jake, you had a question for Arman.
Well, I was going to say, for somebody who hates Dave Sarakan as much as Arman does, getting to his point about playing teams like Colombia, Brazil, England, Italy, where you can't possess the ball. If you were to play teams like Bolivia, like they did in the summer, where you were able to possess the ball, well, if you play teams like that, that might have painted Dave Sarakan in a different picture. And maybe we're sitting here today talking about how Dave Sarakan is the permanent manager for the national team, or something to that effect. You can argue.
Don't let my nightmares
I'm going to argue that playing some of the big boys benefited or could have benefited the U.S. in terms of who was selected or even interviewed for the national team position.
My thought process with playing a small team like Bolivia, okay, yeah, you get that. But, I mean, it's also the style and the way it happens, too. The U.S. can possess, and they should be better than possessing 26% of possession against Italy. They just sat back and absorbed so much pressure. They got, I think we all said it before the game, they're going to get shredded. This 3-5-2 or whatever it was not a good look. Am I right? Like, I think we all said that in the group message.
I spit out the coffee in my mouth that I wasn't having.
I know Jake also was like, hey, this isn't a good look.
Well, I think I said it. I bet they didn't even practice this at all. That this is like a Klinsmann thing, a la Mexico and Columbus, where they were going to play a 3-man back line and they never practiced it.
No, but here's the thing: is I get Arman's point and I get Jake's point too. But if you look at the team, it's not like they're even having fun. They have absolutely no idea what.
Yeah, how can you have fun when you're getting 24% of possession?
No, I understand that, but at what point do you just say, hands up, screw it, let's just go have fun? Like, it's like Dave Sarakan played it to the point where, look, I'm playing the youth. We're playing these big teams, so if we lose, Dave Sarakan cannot lose with the media, cannot lose with the fans, because, look, playing the kids, and we're playing France, we're playing Brazil, playing Mbappe, Neymar, against Italy. We know what Italy has been historically. We beat Mexico. Woohoo. Right? So Dave Sarakan, in his mind, says, look, I can't lose in this situation. Now, Greg Berhalter obviously is linked with the job. Doug McIntyre said it's just a matter of time last week on our show before he gets the official announcement. There was an article in the Columbus Dispatch basically saying it's a matter of time as well. So Greg Berhalter is going to walk in, and the expectations, I think, around him is going to be through the roof. And will players respect an MLS-based head coach, Arman? I think that is a question worth going and diving into, because we know what Bruce Arena was with Jeff Cameron and a lot of the other European players. Will Greg Berhalter reach out to the European-based players and make the locker room more cohesive and make it more friendly for regardless of where you play your club football at?
Yes, I think so. My thing is with Berhalter, my biggest gripe, again, it wasn't the fact that they chose Berhalter. It was the fact that the United States waited a year to choose Berhalter, because Berhalter has coached overseas. I think he coached in Norway. I want to say off the top of my head, he understands a little bit of that dynamic. He was a former player. You have to remember, Bruce Arena didn't play any soccer. He's kind of like me, you, and Jake. He's He was like, I think a lacrosse coach, and they offered him a soccer job as well.
Don't compare me to Bruce Arena, by the way.
Oh, you're better. Don't worry.
I'm better than that.
Berhalter's played for the national team. He's played in MLS, former player, coached overseas, coached in MLS. I don't think that respecting will be as much of an issue in terms of him being able to. He's also a little bit younger as well. With him in terms of relating to younger players. Like I said, Berhalter I think is a fine pick. Just don't wait over a year to pick Greg Berhalter. It should have been done in a matter of months. I would also argue and say Berhalter was seriously probably considering other jobs as well if he didn't accept it immediately, like LA Galaxy.
There you go. Well, Jake, give you the final thoughts here with the U.S. men's national team and moving forward.
Yeah, I don't see how they don't respect Greg Berhalter. I mean, we're forgetting Greg Berhalter made 44 appearances with the national team over the span of 12 years. So that in itself has to have some weight with the players. And this guy, Berhalter played over in Europe too as a player. And like Arman said, he coached in Norway. So if you're Christian Pulisic, if you're Josh Sargent, if you're Tyler Adams, Timothy Weah, whoever, I don't think that they're going to come into practice or into training and say, who's this guy? This isn't some of these big shots, as Bruce Arena would refer to them. This isn't some of the, this isn't a European coach. This guy doesn't know the game. He's an American. So I don't think he has to worry about anything like that. I mean, anybody's a step up from Dave Sarakan.
Shots
and Bruce
fired.
Arena.
And Bruce Arena. All right, well, there is our gripe with the U.S. men's national team. Tweet us on Sam Soccer Pod if you disagree. Let's get to the counterattack with Jake Watroba.
Fast-paced, shifty movement, brilliant skill. It's the counterattack with Jake Watroba.
It's counterattack time here on Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast. We have an MLS-centric counterattack, more so based in rumors about maybe some player movement, maybe some
silly
coaching
season.
hires. What's that?
Is it silly season?
It's silly season.
Oh, my favorite season.
I love
You
silly
love
season.
you love silly season. All right, let's dive right in here. Let's talk about our good friend Giuseppe Rossi. You guys. Yeah, the 31-year-old American, but committed to play for the Italian national team. Per MajorLeagueSoccer.com, Major League Soccer breaking its own news here. We love it. Kind of the running joke on the show. Giuseppe Rossi has interest in playing for Red Bulls and NYCFC. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
I don't get the players that want to I want to play for this team. Does that really ever happen? Do you think Red Bulls and NYCFC look at that and take it seriously?
I mean, it worked for Ibra, right?
Yeah, but Ibra's Ibra.
Not Giuseppe Rossi. I think Giuseppe Rossi is just trying to get some contracts, baby. He needs a job. He got mouths to feed. That's why he's saying he wants to play for these two sides, and why not play for a team like New York?
Okay, I get it. Maybe not New York because those are big markets, but what if you're a smaller market team that could use his services? Would you not want to go after him? There is value to him, I think. He is somebody that FC Dallas, Houston Dynamo, New England Revolution could market around. We talk about marketing, we talk about how players have an impact. This would be a name that people would draw their attention to.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that. I would say in the Dallas, Houston, I guess ETC, I don't think it'd be that big of a name to actually attract many people to come, to be honest with you.
I kind of agree with Arman, and given that Rossi turned down the U.S. national team, a part of me feels like he might be a little hated. Depending upon what
no one cares, man.
No one
cares anymore.
Remember, this was I don't know how long ago it was, but like our boy Clement Lisi said, I think 10 years like an eternity in American soccer. If that happened around 10 years ago, we forgot, bro. Atlanta United wasn't even in the picture 10 years ago.
So
a lot of clubs weren't.
Are you telling me Are you telling me in 2028 I'm not going to be upset that the U.S. failed to qualify for Russia?
Well, not if they win in 2026.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. All right, we're gonna move on here. We're gonna leave it on that. That was a hot take. All right, next topic up for discussion here. We're gonna ask Arman first about this because this kind of involves the team he covers with FC Dallas. Per Wikipedia, Arman, Bruce Arena is the head coach or manager of your FC Dallas. What are your thoughts on this?
Yay.
Okay, on a serious note, can you see FC Dallas calling Bruce Arena up and saying, "Hey, do you want to take over for Oscar Pereira?"
Look, I honestly think Bruce Arena is a good Major League Soccer coach. Let me emphasize Major League Soccer coach, but not for FC Dallas' system. FC Dallas relies on the youth, and I mean, I think we saw at the Galaxy they didn't utilize that much youth, right? They have one of the best academies in Major League Soccer, but we don't hear about it. We hear about players like Jack McBean, Bradford Jamieson. They barely played under Bruce Arena, and I think the Hunts also would want to pay his salary. I think he'd demand a relatively high salary compared to any other candidate out there. So I don't see it realistically happening, but it'd make for funny memes.
I think it's just not a good fit. Bruce Arena does not fit FC Dallas and what FC Dallas is about. Plain and simple.
I agree. Let's move on. I don't want to talk Bruce Arena. Sorry. Can't do it.
Ouch.
It's Bruce Arena. Next topic here, we have from our boy Brian Shredder. We've had him on the show a couple different times here. Tab Ramos linked to MLS as a potential head coaching candidate for some clubs. Do you guys see Tab stepping away from the U.S. youth national team and carving out a name for himself in MLS?
I mean, I could see it. I just don't know where he would go. FC Dallas? I mean, are we going with FC Dallas again?
Well, I mean, FC Dallas was linked. I mean, the thing is, with Tab, it was under his reign that they missed the Olympics, right? Am I mistaken? I feel like everyone's forgotten that.
I think you're right. I think this is I don't know what the proper
recency
term
bias.
Is. Recency bias, yes.
I mean, I'm willing to double check, but I feel like they've missed a couple of Olympics under him, and now all of a sudden he's like hailed as some savior because he got the U.S. to win like the U20 CONCACAF like championship or something.
Well, it's recency bias, and this is also a great case of how winning covers up past mistakes and your true failures in sports, at least. So
yeah, I mean, I think you'd be an interesting fit, but how would it work? Would Tab say, "Hey, I want to come in mid-season after leading the U20 team in the World Cup," or what would they do? I think that would be very interesting to see, because if that's the case, then would you want that? Would you want a coach to come in mid-season? I mean, we've seen it doesn't really work.
No, God, no.
No.
No,
So,
I don't think that's a good idea to bring Tab Ramos in mid-season. So, all right, let's move on. Final topic up for discussion here. This one's a doozy. From our guy, Felipe Cardenas of The Athletic. Felipe tweeted earlier this afternoon. Maybe this was even yesterday. Actually, this is yesterday afternoon. My apologies. Garber is there, ? In reference to Copa Libertadores, Boca Juniors, and River Plate. Boca president names a guest list and mentions El Presidente de la MLS. Is Don Garber on Pity Martinez watch?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. I think maybe he thought Darren Eales was there. The Atlanta president.
I mean,
Good question.
If he's
could
the
be
president of MLS,
It could be lost in translation, right?
maybe he could.
Maybe he was trying to say, hey, Atlanta's president was there, or a president of a team was there. Maybe not specifically Don Garber, because I think league officials denied that he was there, right? Also, what a what a thing. MLS linked with Copa Libertadores, and then this happens. Yeah, I think if you're MLS, you're like, this is a no from me, dog.
Okay, well let's just say I guess this kind of Arman's answer kind of
Tinfoil Ted.
No, I guess what I was gonna ask is, if Don Garber is there, what are your thoughts on him basically skipping out on the Eastern and Western Conference Finals? I mean, think about it. He could have made an appearance at one of the two, and instead goes down to Argentina to check out Boca versus River, which by all means is, if it was going to be played, would have been the better matchup of the three. But what are your takes on that? Shouldn't Don Garber? I mean, let's just say for hypothetical purposes here, Don Garber should he be in attendance for at least one of the two playoff matches for MLS?
Absolutely. I mean, Roger Goodell ends up going to one of the AFC or NFC championship games. I think he flip flops them every year, so he's at one, and he sits.
Yeah, he should be. He should be.
It's a bad look, especially. I think it's even a worse look with what happened down in Argentina. Like, if he is on that guest list, like, he does have power. He is a league commissioner.
I mean,
he's definitely talking. He's definitely talking with what's going on. He's like, "Are you guys playing?" Like, all these executives are interlinked, and the conversation is going on. I guarantee you they have some sort of group chat working between what was going on with CONMEBOL, MLS. Like, they're all interlinked. So, not Don Garber has nothing to do with what happened in Argentina, but being down there is just not a good PR look.
Are we going to talk about what happened in Argentina at all?
We're going to talk about that on a future episode.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna give the proper time and etiquette to it.
So can I be on the counterattack too, Jake?
Go. Be on the counterattack. I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay.
I'm joining on the counterattack.
Bonus round.
Bonus round.
Guest appearance.
Do you and I know you said you want to talk about this in a later episode, but I saw a bunch of tweets. They were kind of in a joking format saying Garth Logaway of the Sounders hitting up all of the River Plate / Boca Junior players saying, "Hey, you don't have to deal with this crap in this country." Do you think, seriously, if you're an MLS executive, are you reaching out to these guys and saying, "Hey, look, I know that this happened," to the agents, and saying, "Hey, I know this happened, but here in America, you don't really have any of that here."
Well, here in America, you get no press coverage.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this.
I think if you're an MLS front office executive, you are definitely that's your sales pitch. I think right now to any of these any players in Argentina, you don't have to deal with your team bus having bottles and rocks and whatever was tossed at the Boca bus yesterday. You don't have to worry about your bus windows being blown out and getting glass in your eyes, and then, oh, by the way, you get tear gassed by the police. You don't have to worry about it. That come to MLS. You can live in America here. No one will know who you are. You don't have to worry about being stopped in the street. You can go live your life and not not be in the spotlight. If that's what you want to do. So I think that's definitely. And by the way, too, a lot. You're going to get paid on time, which I don't know if a lot of these South American and Central American clubs can really offer to some of their players.
I think the matter is a lot more complicated than we're making it out to be. I don't think it's as simple as saying, come to America, you get paid on time and all this. Sounds good, but then again, they're also professional footballers. And at the end of the day, they do want the spotlight. And we have to be careful not for MLS to not, promote the good parts of the league. Like, this is a competitive league. I think those points that Jake made, I think if you looked at it at a sundae, that's the whipped cream and the cherry. The banana of the sundae is still focused, if you're making a sales pitch about MLS, is the fact that the quality of play is increasing, the fact that you are just, this is a stepping stone to Europe. Maybe, hell, you're probably lying when you're saying that, because we still haven't seen a player really come from, outside of the U.S. Academy, or I guess MLS Academy with, Alphonso Davies going to Bayern Munich. We still haven't seen a player really make that leap from a smaller league in Latin or South America to MLS and then going on to Europe. Maybe we'll see something new in the next 2 seasons. Almiron, Martinez, who's already spent time in Europe, but now he's going to have a second chance. That might change people. And obviously Barco's a huge name to follow in the coming years.
So I agree with most of what both you are saying. My thing with your point, Stephen, about the coverage is I guess that could be countered with, hey, let's say they're going to a team like Seattle, a team like Atlanta. You think that changes the picture a little bit compared to like a team such as New England or a team such as FC Dallas?
100%. Obviously, it changes on the market.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
No, I think that's a different and I think that's a huge sales point too. I mean, if you're New England and you're going down to a player versus Atlanta, I mean, you walk in, you're Atlanta, you just show a picture of the tifo of what happened today against New York Red Bulls. The entire stadium's into it. Every 70,000 show up. You're New England, you're not showing the stadium, you're not showing the fan base. You're showing other stuff. I don't know what. Same with Dallas.
You're showing Tom Brady.
Yeah, you show a Patriots game.
You show a Patriots game, you're like, yeah, football! And then lost in translation. You just say football a million times, hoping that they don't understand it's American football. So. All right, that's the counterattack. Listeners, follow us on Twitter, UncSamSoccerPod, at Arman Kafai, at Jake Watroba, at Steven Jodderand. Boys, another episode in the bag. We excited for Thursday? MLS Cup playoffs. Arman, Red Bulls, no chance.
Red Bulls. I think the Red Bulls will make it entertaining, but they'll lose. And Don Garber will smile as Atlanta United is in MLS Cup on prime time, and then we'll have SKC squeaking out a 2-1 victory over Portland.
There you go, Jake.
Listen, Chief. If New York Red Bulls come back, you guys can blame it on me, okay? But here's the thing. I'm not going to sit and watch a 0-0 second leg of SKC in Portland. It's just not going to happen. And now when I say that, you know we're going to get like a 4-3 game now. So you're welcome.
Thank you, Jake. Sporting KC, Atlanta will be your MLS Cup. See you next week.